Hey everybody, welcome back to day 10 of my mental health journey. For those of you who aren't familiar with my channel, essentially I'm documenting my day-to-day struggles with mental health and what I'm doing to overcome some of the things that I've been dealing with, as well as just connecting with other people through my experiences and giving people a platform on here to share their stories if they're going through something that I could never go through. For example, if they're like a minority or a woman, or they have a different sexual identity, all of those kind of things that I can't personally speak on because I don't have those experiences. I hope that people can share some of the mental health things that they've gone through on this platform, just so they can do their story justice. I would never try to tell anybody else's story but my own. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about something that I don't necessarily know if it's positive, but it's extremely relevant to everybody, and that's mortality. And as everyone knows, basically we only have a certain allotted time on this planet. We don't know when we're going to go, so it's a constant source of stress for us. And it can take you out of the moment because you're like, oh my God, I gotta maximize my life every day. And ironically, it can make life less enjoyable because you're just constantly stressing. And I know that cultures across the world view death differently. For example, you could be in rural Indonesia and the relatives of the dead will take them out of the coffin and spend time with them in their home, which is something that's completely unfathomable in the United States, and probably illegal too. And you have cultures in Latin America, like for example, Mexico, they have Dia de los Muertos, and it's a very colorful celebration of the dead, the loved ones that have passed on. Whereas, at least the way I grew up, death was always sorrowful. It was always just mourning. It was never really a celebration. But I think at an individual level, everybody either fears death or they fear not maximizing their life and their potential in the allotted time that they have on this earth. And like I said earlier, that can just be a constant source of stress that makes it so you don't actually enjoy life. You're so much more focused on death, you forget that you're actually living and, trying to enjoy this life that we have. But anyway, I think that just makes it tougher to move forward and enjoy life. So that's something that I've really tried to think about as an individual. But the reason why I even thought about this was because a friend reached out to me, and she told me that her dog had been in the hospital. He came back, but he's slowing down, and it got me thinking about my dog, who's 16, and he's also slowing down. And basically, I have this problem where, because, well, first and foremost, this is my first dog, so I've been exposed to like the death of humans numerous times, whether it be friends, family, etc. But I've never experienced the loss of a family pet. This is my first dog, my sister's first dog, the first dog that my parents ever had, really, besides like a childhood dog that they had to give away because it was like too crazy. But anyway, she confided in me that she was really worried, and it got me thinking about how I view the mortality of my dog. And I found myself being worried a lot. Like, what if I just walk in the room and he's passed away? He's 16, which is old for a dog, and he's not very mobile. He's slowing down mentally. He's confused and everything. And I think a lot of times too, like my family will be like, because they see him more, because I don't live with them. Enjoy this time with him. He's slowing down and everything. Basically, a whole lot of allusions towards death and mortality and whatnot. And I basically just came to the realization that my worrying isn't going to extend his life. Like, it's not. So it's not going to make him healthier. So the best thing that I can do is to enjoy those moments with him and really be present, as opposed to being super anxious about a future death and whatnot, which we'll all eventually have to face anyway. But basically, I'm just trying to be more present with him and really enjoy these moments. So when, unfortunately, that moment does come, I can look back and say that I wasn't spending all this time, during his last days worrying about him. I was spending time with him, keeping him comfortable, letting him know that I love him, and all the stuff that you should be doing, that we tend to do with a dog when they're younger. But then once they get older, we start worrying about all these things. At least for me, because like I said before, this is my first dog. I've never really, this is uncharted territory for me. But anyway, I just wanted to say that this can also be applied to humans as well. This just happens to be the route that I wanted to go because of a story that somebody else told me and the fact that it related with me. But same stuff with like a grandparent, or perhaps you have a family member who's sick, somebody who's addicted to drugs or alcohol, and you worry constantly about them passing away, which is totally human to do. But at the end of the day, you got to understand that you worrying and whatnot isn't going to extend their lifetime. And in the case of like with drug addiction, that's an entirely different thing. I won't talk about that right now. But I'll stick more to like if you're sick. But it's not going to extend their life. So you got to just like make the conscious decision, or at least I am. And hopefully, if it works for you, then you apply the same thing. But just be present with them and just let them know that you love them. And when it's all said and done, you'll have positive memories that will make you realize that you were maximizing your life and their life. And it will help you move forward down the road. You won't have the regret that you didn't enjoy this time, that you didn't maximize it, because you did. But anyway, the whole thing is to just understand that certain things are out of your control, and that you can only make the best of a situation. You can't necessarily control it. But yeah, that's my talk for today. I know that it was a little darker and maybe a little less positive than what I normally try to talk about, but I think it's relevant, and life isn't always pretty. So it's important to talk about these things, especially because everyone goes through it. And that's what I have to say today. Looking forward to doing my interview later, but love you guys, and I will post this later tonight.